Welcome back to Sutton Reactions. I'm your host, Sutton Def. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this episode 15, I believe it is, of Sutton Reactions. Whether you're watching on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel or if you're watching on the Sutton Reactions channel, either way, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. However, if you are watching on PRP, which I know most of you are, make sure you scroll down to the description and click on the link to actually go to the official Sutton Reactions YouTube channel because exclusively this show will be over there pretty soon. So if that sounds good to you and you want to keep watching Sutton Reactions, you're enjoying this type of content, make sure you go over to that YouTube channel and hit subscribe. Appreciate it. But either way, whatever you're watching on, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Even if you're watching on PRP, subscribe to that too because we got daily Ravens content coming out for you. We had a really good episode last night, me and Alex, kind of going through our top Ravens head coaching candidates. He was saying Clint Kubiak. He kind of convinced me a little bit to bring Clint Kubiak to the forefront of my list. You know, him and Mike LaFleur. For those guys who didn't know, for those of you guys who specifically watch on Sudden Reactions, I am a huge Baltimore Ravens fan, and I cover the Baltimore Ravens on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. But happy Friday, though. Happy Friday to you guys. You know, hopefully you guys had a good week, and hopefully you guys have got some, some plans for the week and some cool plans. I would love to hear about them. Me personally, I have some friends visiting from out of town. From San Francisco, actually. So we'll get to watch the playoff game this week. I believe they play the Eagles. Should be a good one. Should be a fun one. But I have some company coming in town and actually just a couple of hours. So kind of got to get through this live stream here so I can, finish getting the house ready and whatnot. But of course, couldn't leave you guys hanging. Could not leave you guys hanging. We got a lot to get into. We got a lot to get into on this episode of the show. So I'll spare you of the Ravens talk for today. Right. But of course, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up who's here in the live chat. Got to bring up who's here in the live chat. Taurus is in the live chat. What's going on, Taurus? We got Ashley. Good morning, Ashley. Ashley is one of our members here. Shout out to her. We appreciate all of our Rain Gang members. Chris M., another one of our members in the chat, says good morning. Top of the morning to you, Chris. Herb, what's going on, Herb? Appreciate you for pulling up. World Class. What up? What up, World Class? Put the other channel on the chat and pin it to the top of the chat, Sutton. I should do that. I totally could do that. I normally don't edit live in YouTube. That's the thing. I use my little streaming software or whatever I have here. But it is in the description. But next time I got you. I got you. Sutton always got the party house. Yeah, I do. Had company last week. Got company this week. Got my parents coming to visit in a couple weeks. So yeah, it's pretty lit over here. Pretty lit. Let me see. I got my guy Void in here with the salute in the chat. What's up, Void? Appreciate you for coming through. Let me see. Keep going here. And Void again is one of our members. Shout out to our members. Shelly, good morning. Good morning, Shelly. Happy Friday to you. Again, one of our members in the chat, our coveted PRP Rain Gang members. Again, appreciate y'all. Zico Kage, what up? All right. So let's go ahead and get into the reactions, right? No need to waste any more time. Let's get right into some sudden reactions. Some good coffee. Shout out to my lady. Okay. So yesterday we had a lot of fun with the Would You Rathers, right? That was a lot of fun towards the end of the episode. You guys were spamming them in the chat, and I was going through all of them, trying to answer all of them. We had a lot of fun with that. So I was thinking, to break the ice, why don't we start with a Would You Rather? And I think I might start doing this, like as an icebreaker, before we get into the hard-hitting topics, before we get into the messy topics and stuff like that. Let's start with a nice, thought-provoking Would You Rather question. Let's take a listen to this one that I found on TikTok, and I want you to comment down below, whether you're in the live chat or if you're watching the replay, comment down below. What would you rather do in this scenario?
Question of the day, would you rather every night before bed have to eat a hot dog? Every night, right before you go to sleep. It can't be 30 minutes before. It has to be right before you go to sleep. You have to eat a hot dog. Or every night at 3 in the morning, you have to get out of bed, do 10 jumping jacks immediately, and then you can go back to sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna run it one more time.
Question of the day, would you rather every night before bed have to eat a hot dog? every night, right before you go to sleep. It can't be 30 minutes before. It has to be right before you go to sleep. You have to eat a hot dog. Or every night at 3 in the morning, you have to get out of bed, do 10 jumping jacks immediately, and then you can go back to sleep. Question of the day.
So for me, this is a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, I see some of you guys saying hot dogs, some of you guys saying jumping jacks. For me, it's 1000% jumping jacks. 1000%. Because you gotta think about it. You gotta break it down this way. Number one, you're not supposed to consume food right before you go to sleep, right? Because your body doesn't have time to burn it off, right? So it's just gonna sit in your stomach and kind of fester there, you know, and that can lead to all sorts of problems with weight gain and things like that. Plus, it would just be a crazy inconvenience to every time that I'm tired, right, or before I'm about to go to bed, I have to make sure that I have a hot dog by my nightstand. Insane. And hot dogs aren't even that good. I don't even like hot dogs unless they're grilled and they've got like the char marks on them and things like that. I don't even like them. So for me, definitely not a hot dog. There is no upside. Meanwhile, the jumping jacks, if I have to get up at, what did he say, 3 a.m. every morning to do what, 10, 15 jumping jacks and then go back to bed? I mean, there is really no downside to that. Yeah, you get woken up out of your sleep. Most of us get up in the middle of the night anyway to go use the bathroom or something. Might as well do a little bit of exercise while you're at it. There's literally, there is no negative, you know, there's nothing non beneficial about that, is what I'm saying, right? I get exercise. I'm up early. A lot of us wake up 3, 4 in the morning anyway for work, right? I'm up early. I can go be productive after that. It's a no brainer. It's a no brainer to me, at least. Let me see what y'all saying. A glizzy by the bed is wild. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Void, do Vienna sausages count as glicks? That's a good question, but no. I don't think they count as glicks. I think that they count as more like BB guns almost. You know what I'm saying? Because the Vienna sausage is only about that big, only about yay big. You know what I mean? And it's like actual glizzies are like at least, you feel me? So nah, Vienna sausages don't count as glicks. Let me see. Ashley says I used to wake up at 5:30 during the week to work out when I worked in the office. See, there you go. I mean, there's literally no downside to waking up at 3 a.m. to do a couple jumping jacks. No downside to it. Hot dogs are the worst foods on earth. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. Void says eat the hot dog. Jumping jacks will wake you up. Mm, nah. Me personally, I could go back to sleep after doing a couple jumping jacks. I might be on my phone scrolling for like 10 minutes, but that's besides the point. But yeah, jumping jacks for me all day. All that sodium before bed. That's, what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Hot dog equal heartburn. Jumping jacks, says Shelly. Okay, so most of us say jumping jacks. Chris says hot dog. I don't know how you could do that. No, no way. You would literally turn into a hot dog. I'm gonna do the jumping jacks. I'm gonna do the jumping jacks. But the little sausages are good. I grew up on them. I grew up on them. I can't lie. Vienna sausages. I grew up on them. My grandma used to feed me those. But all right, just to start with something a little fun there. A little fun. All right, but we got to get serious, guys. We got to get serious. Yesterday I came on here and I did not talk about the situation that happened in Minneapolis the day prior, where ICE agents had gunned down a woman who apparently was a protester, and it has sparked nationwide debate on whether or not it was justified or it was unjustified. Now, before I show you this video, before I really say my piece on it, before I show you other people's reactions to it, I just want to say that it was 1000% unjustified, 1000% unacceptable, right? And what it should serve as is an eye opener to everybody on that side of the aisle that, hey, like, maybe we've taken things just a tad too far. And not even just a tad, because I can go on and on. But this is ridiculous. I want to go ahead and bring up the video here, and I'll mute it because you don't want
Question
me
of
to
the
mute
day:
audio.
would you rather?
Oh, no, not the would you rather. There we go. There we go. So this is the video. It's actually played at 0.3 speed because the big debate is that this woman was trying to get away. And in the process of doing that, she had ended up hitting this ICE agent with her car. This ICE agent who stood in front of her vehicle trying to stop her from leaving. Basically daring her. And her name is Renee Good. And she's dead. Because this ICE agent decided to stand in front of her vehicle, dare her to move forward, basically, and basically incited a shooting. Because what is she supposed to do in that instance? She's already backing up with your partner's hand on her door handle, trying to open her door. And she's trying to drive away. What in your training, if any, because a lot of these guys in ICE are just pulled off the streets, like self-made militia type shit. You guys ever seen Batman, like the first Dark Knight? The one with the Joker? The one where in the very beginning of the movie, you have these like fake Batmans running around the city thinking that like they're the real heroes, you know what I mean, trying to police things on their own and whatnot. That's what ICE agents are. Again, I don't know if you guys get the reference, but that's what ICE agents are. Fake law enforcement, no training or very minimal training. And then you just throw them out there. And what do? They power trip like this and they try to play God. And that's where my biggest issue with it comes in. You put these type of people, very specific people, into positions of power over other people without properly vetting, without properly training. These are the instances that end up happening. These are the situations that we get ourselves into, right? Where clearly protocol does not exist here. Because nowhere in the law does it say that deadly force should be used on somebody trying to flee a crime scene or trying to flee a scene. Tell me how or where she deserved to have her life taken away. Just as a human. And people on that side of the aisle, and I'll get to you guys' comments in a second here, but people on that side of the aisle are arguing that she used her car as a weapon, right? And the moment that she put that car in drive and drove it into that person's leg, that officer's leg, she deserved to die. Not deserve to be detained, not deserve to be, just thrown in jail for X amount of time. Nope. Deserve to die. And that's disgusting. Again, you have trained law enforcement officers all over the internet who are coming out and breaking this down, saying, yeah, like this is not how this type of situation is supposed to unfold. Yet again, you have a lot of people from that side of the aisle who don't want to lose this argument, right? Because that's really all it boils down to. In the day of social media, nobody really cares about morally what's right and what's wrong. It's just about winning or losing an argument. So when I go online and I see people debating on whether or not this was justified or not, the people who say that it was justified, they don't really think that is justified. They just want to be right for the sake of being right. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. They just want to be right for the sake of being right and standing up for the right. That's all it is. They don't actually feel as though, like deep down in their heart of hearts, I truly don't believe that they feel that, this was the right thing to do. This is what should have happened. But since ICE is a product of that party, that side of the aisle, they have to support it. They have to champion it. In that one detail, that one wrinkle where she puts her car in the drive there and tries to blow past the cops to get away, that's what they're clinging on to for dear life as the reason why she deserved to lose her life. It's sickening. It's sickening. Let me read some of you guys' comments here. Road Class says, I've seen black men do less, and they say if he would have complied, he wouldn't have died. So it's wrong now that it happened to anybody but us on camera. Okay, sure. I mean, it's wrong either way, honestly. And if I had been doing this show in the times where some of those, famous cases, when they happen in real time, I would have reported on it the same way. But this happens to be the first time that something like this has come to my attention in my tenure doing this show. So I'm going to talk about it. It's wrong both ways, right? I don't care that she was a white woman, right? And that's part of the problems. Like, no longer are we looking at, just the humanitarian side of it. Just like, did this human deserve to die or no? Like, forget if she was black, white, purple, you know what I'm saying? Skinny, fat, transgender, straight. Like, did this person deserve to lose their life? Did that officer deserve to transition that person to the afterlife that nobody truly knows what holds? And the answer is no. And the answer has always been no when we see situations in cases like this, whether it be black people, whoever. I can go down a long list of black people who were done very wrong and killed on camera. I mean, you guys know the names. And all those instances were wrong too. But the fact that you have, I think the slight difference is this is like ICE agents who clearly don't have the same level. I feel like they're just like poor man's cops. And cops can already be bad. So imagine what these guys are. That's why I think it's dangerous. We need to talk about it more. Zeke Okage says just a sad/terrible situation. Very sad. Void says, why was his gun pulled? I don't know. Guess he feared for his life when she put the car in drive, even though he clearly could have gotten out of the way. Maybe his quad would have been a little sore for a couple of days or whatever. But it's not like he was going to get hit square on right by her car. She's already turning her wheel. She's trying to turn her wheel right to try to get out of there. Now, she didn't have the angle to completely clear the guy who was standing right in front of her vehicle, which, again, who taught you that shot, bro? When have you ever shot that shot? You know what I mean? Like, who taught you to stand right in front of the vehicle with your person, and basically dare them to step on the gas with a person who's frightened? And by the way, the thing that, is not played in this video, you can't hear it because I muted the audio. But when the cops, well, not the cops, the ICE agents walked up to the car, let me rewind it here. They were walking up to the car and shouting profanity at her. Like, hey, get the F out of the car. Like, what cop talks like that? Unless they're on bullshit type of timing. You know what I mean? So again, it's nasty. I can't. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. But and like Solo Truth says, somebody lost their lives. SMH, senseless killing. Yeah. But I want to show you this. And Taurus, no, you don't have to keep your comments to yourself. Go ahead, man. This is an open space. If there's one thing you're gonna know about me, is that I do not censor anybody's opinions, anything like that. I would love to hear it. Actually, if you're on the other side of this, let me know. You might be on the side of this person that I'm about to play for you guys. This was a somebody who came out and had some words to say about the situation and why he thinks that it's justified. Let's take a listen.
Y'all knew it was coming. So here it is. I'm going to tell you. Fuck your feelings. Facts is facts. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear, oh, she had 3 kids, or she had a 6-year-old. She was a good mother. She wasn't considering any of that when she got her ass behind that wheel and started operating it and drove it at a fucking federal officer.
Let's pause real quick. The fact that he just said, doesn't matter the fact that she had 3 kids, she was a good mother, family woman, things like that. She wasn't thinking about that when she decided to put her car in drive and drive towards a federal officer. The problem that I have with that sentence is that it makes it seem and feel like the federal officer's life and well-being is of more importance than her life and her entire family's life. And remember what I said a couple of minutes ago about these people seemingly trying to play God. That's what this guy is perpetuating here. I've honestly never really understood, like, I know people personally in law enforcement, but I've never really understood how, crimes against law enforcement officers are more punishable than crimes against average citizens. Valuing one's life over another, I don't care if they protect and serve, I don't care if, in the military, whatever. I think every life needs to be on the same playing field, treated the same, with the same grace, same respect, all of that. The same benefit of the doubt. So I don't like the fact that he's like, oh, you weren't thinking about that when you decided to try to run over a federal agent. Who gives a fuck if he was a federal agent? I don't care. I don't care. He is not God. He is not better than anybody else.
Fucking federal officer. That's simple. Fuck your feelings. What's going on in Minnesota, Minneapolis, wherever the fuck it is, where all them motherfuckers are snapping over the motherfucking daycare shit? Y'all created that shit. And the lady from Missouri, she got up there motherfucking, y'all, I'm gonna show you now. I just moved to Minnesota. I'm from the show me state. They showed her and put some holes in her motherfucking face. And now that bitch ain't got shit to say. And her kids are never gonna see their mom again. Why? Because she made a stupid motherfucking move. If it was a nigga, you'd have just said, that's a dumb nigga. He should have complied. Well, that was a dumb white bitch and she should have fucking complied. And now she got what she got, and it is what it is. The bitch should have motherfucking listened. She should have got out the fucking car, complied, and she would have went on about her day, and her kids would be having motherfucking dinner with her ass. Instead, that bitch got holes in her motherfucking head, and she ain't here no more, and it is what it is. Fuck your feelings. Facts is facts. Get out they fucking way, let them do their fucking job, leave them people the fuck alone, and they ain't gonna fuck with you. You keep fucking with them, go on and drive a car to a motherfucking officer if you want to, and see if you don't catch some hot ones in your ass.
So he's basically saying she should have just complied. She should have just complied, and none of this would have ever happened. Okay. Let me say this. I think it's a two-party responsibility in moments like this. Because on the one hand, I've always been of the school of thought that, like, if you have a run-in with law enforcement and you've done nothing wrong, you've broken no laws, or even if you have, right? Just listen to what they say. Do what they say. Just comply. And I agree. But like I said, it's a two-party responsibility because not everybody is going to be able to be level headed enough. Not everybody is able to process these situations in real time in order to make the most sensical decision. Now, like I said, it's a two-party responsibility. And I think, honestly, there's more of a responsibility on the cop or this ICE agent here to be able to diffuse situations. I mean, that's literally a whole part of their training is learning how to diffuse situations that already seem to be getting out of hand. They do not teach you to use deadly lethal force in just any case scenario. So yes, while she could have complied, right, as they were walking up to her car and telling her to get the F out and probably scaring her half to death, she could have just complied and said, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and let you guys yank me out of my vehicle and throw me onto this icy pavement and arrest me. She could have just did that, but she didn't, right? She decided to try to flee, and the cops tried to block her in using his own body, and she still tries to flee, and you shoot her. You couldn't just let her go, get the license plate, track her down, follow after her, arrest her. Couldn't do none of that. Had to go straight to death. Straight to death. It makes no sense. No sense. Let me read some comments from you guys here. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to everybody in the replay gang as well. I'm definitely complying unless I'm crashing out. Yeah. Let me see. ISO says, nah, as a grown ass federal agents, you're supposed to keep yourself out of harm's way. If you're working in this field and you can't keep your composure, then it's not for you. My point. My point. And a lot of these ICE agents have been thrust into these roles, right? They're not even people with, years of experience or months of training. Like a lot of them are just kind of thrust into these roles of power. And to be honest with you, there's a very specific type of person who decides to sign up for an agency like ICE, right? Like, oh, you're gonna give me a badge and I get to go around, you know, messing with immigrants. Sounds good to me. And you're gonna pay me to do that? Sounds good to me. I mean, you probably got police academy rejects. You probably got people who didn't even graduate high school or barely graduated high school. I don't know what the requirements are to get in ICE, but hell, I see application links all the time. Don't seem too hard. Don't seem like that like too tough of a club to get into. Kenny says, my thing is this in hindsight, yeah, he shouldn't have offed her. But my thing is he don't know what could have happened. Well, I don't know exactly what you mean, like what could have happened, Kenny, but my thing is you didn't need to use deadly force because it didn't look like she was trying to use lethal force with her car. And if anything, if you guys saw the full video, I think she was trying to leave the protest and she was trying to make an illegal U-turn, right? She was trying to make an illegal U-turn and she was letting some cars who were going one way pass her by, right? And one car does pass her by. And then she's waving on the other one, which happens to be the ICE truck, which is like just some random pickup truck. And they don't go around. They hop out of the car and then they pull up on her. As they're, again, yelling at her, telling her to get the F out of the car, all that stuff. So as much as you're saying that he doesn't know, that officer doesn't know what could have happened, she also probably didn't know what was going to happen, especially if, armed guys hop out of a truck and are yelling at you to get the F out of the car. You know, you got to make a split second decision in a scenario like that. So, but again, I put more onus on the agent who's supposed to be trained for these situations exactly. Like you literally go to school. You're supposed to, be trained in this. Or are they? These ICE agents. Again, that's my problem. Chris says there's no more human in humanity. I don't like that. That's why I stay off social media and I ignore the news. I am on social media, Chris, but I do tend to ignore the news. I get my news through social media, right? Because at least then I can filter it. I don't have to, constantly hear about all the sad stuff all, over and over and over again at 6 p.m. at 7, at the top of every hour. I can kind of get in and get out when I want to. But that is, I do like that point though. There is no more human in humanity, and you know, people would argue that since she turned her weapon in, turned her vehicle into a weapon by putting it in drive while he was standing right in front of her car, then that is what justifies him pulling out his gun and shooting her to death. And while they may be able to get away with that technicality, I want us to take a step back. And these are people who are on the left, people who are on the right, in the middle, up, down, wherever. Take a step back and forget about the laws, right? Forget about the laws that were made by flawed humans and just think about what's right or wrong. Think about what's right or wrong. If you, in your heart of hearts, think that it's right for this woman to lose her life, like, again, take the laws out of it. If you think that it was right for her to lose her life that day, then that's one thing. But I don't. Again, the humanity in me cannot allow me to think that way. It will not allow me to think that way. This is what it is for me, man. And again, I don't really want to. I don't like to argue about it. I read the argument sometimes about whether or not oh, this person should have complied. It wasn't justified. They deserve to go to jail. Whatever. I read it sometimes, and the back and forth is so nasty to me because, again, even in situations like this where it's like clear and obvious, this woman did not deserve to die. If you are on a certain side of the aisle that voted for this sort of these sort of agencies like ICE to come to fruition and start doing these things, and like you have to champion it. You have to like push down your morality and your humanity and say, forget my morality, forget my humanity. Yes, that is effed up that woman was offed on camera, but hey, I stand on this side of the aisle and I got to ride for my dogs no matter what. Like that's nasty to me and it's very disingenuous, but that's where we are as a country right now. It's more so about winning and losing arguments than what's right or wrong. Crazy. Crazy. Let me see. Taurus says, since we're talking about it though, I don't like the fact that police cars purposely disguise their cars now, blacken shit out. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful on these roads, man. World Class says ICE's behavior is typical, average, and ordinary city, county police, and sheriff deputy protocol. It's normal. Mm. Shouldn't be normal. Do not normalize this shit, man. Chris M says, putting more of an onus on the public to remain level headed instead of hired peacekeepers has never set well with me. Exactly. Bingo. Keeping the peace. Keeping the peace is not walking up to her vehicle, screaming at her, telling her to get the fuck out. It's not. It's not. Flies in the face of what peacekeeping actually is. Let me see here. Police being electric vehicles too. King Lee is in the building. What's up, King Lee? I did play the video just a couple of minutes ago. I won't spin it again though. I won't spin it again. But okay. Let's get off of this, guys. Again, thoughts and prayers to the family of Renee Good, her children, her extended family. You just never want to hear about stuff like this. And again, regardless of race, gender, whatever, like, just as a human, this type of stuff is unacceptable. And I would hope that people who champion agencies like ICE take a look at situations like this and they realize that, like, hey, maybe we've gone too far. Maybe we need to dial it back a little bit. All right, but enough of that. What's how we're 35 minutes in? I think it's time to get messy. We just dealt with a pretty heavy topic. So why not deal with something a little bit more fun? A little bit more easygoing. Y'all ready for the mess? All right. Like the video, y'all. If you're enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel. Again, if you're new here. Also, down below in the description, if you're watching on PRP, click on that link to get to Sutton Reactions, the actual official YouTube channel for this show, where this show will be exclusively streamed. Void says that wasn't the messy part. No, I mean, that was the sad part. That was the sad part, man. But okay, let's get into this one first. I think that this one is a woman's on vacation in a Walmart, and some dude is hitting on her. And apparently, she's not wearing her wedding ring.
What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
I'm Jazz.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
What part? You?
Let's go Texas.
Hell no.
Hell no. You said hell no. You don't like Houston?
I'm just not from Houston.
Nah, you look amazing.
And see, she already doing too much talking for me. She already doing way too much talking for me. And she's going to reveal that she's married here. If you are married, right, and you out with your homegirl, you're on vacation, whatever, and some dude comes up to you and is trying to, like, spit game to you, and he's got a camera in your face, like, are you kidding me? Unless he was recording with those little glasses or whatever. And, like, you just answering every question. Because all he's trying to get you to do is just answer questions. That's all he's trying to get you to do. Just to keep talking to him. Let's keep going. But she answering way too many questions for me.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You live out here?
Huh?
You live out here?
No, with my sister.
You have Instagram I can get?
I can't. My
Why?
husband will whip my ass. I'm married.
You got a husband?
See? Second red flag right there. First red flag. Talking too much. Right? Too much eye contact, talking too much. Second red flag. Hey, you got an Instagram? No, I can't. My husband will whoop my ass. Basically saying, like, hey, my husband low-key kind of hates me. He could be a little bit abusive. You know what I mean? Maybe not necessarily saying that, but like saying, like, hey, like, there's an end point for you somewhere. I'm sorry, I can't. My husband will whip my ass. Not just like, no, straight up no. Right? Might be going.
Where your ring at?
Huh?
Where your ring
I
at?
took it off. I don't need to wear it.
You took it off.
I took it off.
Why you took your ring
I'm
off?
on vacation. Why do I need to wear a ring on vacation?
Now she asking questions back? Nah. This is at least like 4 bodies right here.
What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
I'm Jazz.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, let's just count the amount of bodies in this video.
Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Oh, wait, she already done shook hands? Hold on, wait a minute. I missed that.
What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
I'm Jazz.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, that's 1 body right there.
Where
I'm from Texas.
Texas?
All right, I say where she's from. That's 2 bodies right there.
Yeah.
What part? Houston?
Hell no.
Hell no. You said hell no. You don't like Houston?
I'm just not from Houston.
Nah, you look amazing.
She inciting jokes. 3 bodies right there.
Oh, thank you.
You live out here?
Huh?
You live out here?
No, with my sister.
You have Instagram I can get?
I can't. My
Why?
husband will whip my ass.
Nope, 4 bodies right there.
You got a husband? Where your ring at?
Huh?
Where your ring
I
at?
took it off.
She laughing and giggling. 5 bodies.
To wear it.
You took it off.
Took it off.
Why you took your ring off?
Why she shaking the drink like that? 6 bodies.
I'm on vacation. Why do I need to wear a ring on vacation?
Now.
Yeah, nah, I counted 6. I counted 6. And no, the very last part. The very last part where she's like, "We take. I don't. Why do I need to wear a ring? I'm on vacation." That's 7 bodies right there. That's just as many bodies that she caught in this video alone. 7 bodies, by the way. 7, JD. Count them up. 7. Just as many bodies as Tom Brady got Super Bowl rings. That is crazy. All in underneath a minute. And they cut the video off. I'm sure it probably kept going. He probably got all the way to the car. Nasty work. Nasty work, man. Your girl can't shake hands. Herb. Look. Let me tell you something. It is very clear and very obvious and apparent when a man is hitting on a woman. So no, my girl cannot shake hands with some dude who's walking up to her and clearly asking her these small talk questions to get her to talk to him while he's recording her as well. No, you got to dead that immediately. Because like it should immediately go off in her radar. Okay, this is a stranger talking to me. He's not asking me, oh, where's the bread aisle, or where did you get that drink from, or anything like that. He's asking like, hey, like, what's your name? Where are you from? Like, these are preliminary questions getting to, can I get some from you? So like it should just go off in your head automatically. That like, yeah, this ain't no genuine, you know what I mean, interaction. He wants something clearly. Yeah, 7 bodies is crazy. Absolutely nuts. Let me see. King Lee says she will be divorcee when she gets back from that vacation. I wonder if her husband saw that. I wonder if he saw that. Whole thing could be fake. Dude had the camera off gun. Could be. Like I said, I thought that maybe he had the little glasses or whatever. But I guess if the camera moved around, I didn't catch that. But again, like, the camera's in your face. That's the whole thing. If the camera was like in her face and she saw it and she kept, you know what I'm saying, like going for it, nah. Chris M says she can't talk to her friend's cousin. To her friend's cousin? That's not her friend's cousin. When did they say that? Did I miss something? She would definitely go if he didn't have that camera, though. She might. I didn't even catch where they were. Because she said she's on vacation. She said she's from Texas. I didn't catch where they were, though. Chris being messy. Chris M, and the M stands for messy. I love it. All right, let's move on. It's a little bit of mess for y'all. Here is a young black woman who is speaking upon who she wants as a partner and what she will not accept by any means. And what she will not accept is an uneducated man. Let's take a listen.
Also, tell me if I'm wrong. Actually, I know I'm not wrong. I just got into it with a group of people because I said I don't date anyone who don't have a post-secondary education. I didn't say they needed to have a bachelor's degree. I'm just saying I need you to do something after high school so we can relate to some things just a little bit more. What do I look like dating somebody who swear college is a scam and I've been in college half my life? I got my bachelor's degree, master's degree, and I'm going back to school to get my PhD. And I'm not in school right now, but I'm still studying to get a license, and then I have to study to get another license. If you think school is a scam, why would I date you? You won't understand what I'm doing. God forbid a girl got a preference that ain't got nothing to do with money or skin complexion. Ugh.
What do y'all think about that? She justified? That's what she wants. And I tend to agree there. And here's where it kind of gets interesting. Is because a lot of people, when I looked at the comments for this video, there were a lot of men upset, in a lot of the men who, maybe either didn't go to college or didn't finish college or whatever were kind of triggered by this. And I'm starting to notice that like there's like this socioeconomical shift here that's happening in specifically the Black community, where you have way more Black women now who are going out to get educated and kind of intellectually pricing themselves out of a large part of the dating market. And this woman here is calling out. She's saying like, "Hey, like, why would I date anybody who is basically like not on my level when it comes to education?" Because a lot of, and again, here's where the disconnect starts to happen between Black women and Black men. And nowadays, a lot of Black women are relentlessly, when I say relentlessly, I mean relentlessly pursuing education. I'm talking about getting degrees just because they're bored, just to get them. And obviously, these degrees and doctorates and all these stuff they'll come with benefits, obviously. But men aren't doing the same. So the fact that she's calling out a statistic here that, hey, men aren't going to college, and if you don't plan on going to college, if you think college is a scam, basically I have no business with you. You're not going to understand me, because like school, I think, and again, I think that a lot of women take school into adulthood, whereas men don't. Men will go to school, but then as soon as school is over, hop right into the workforce. You know, no secondary. Like if I get my high school diploma, maybe I don't need to go to college. I'm gonna go, you know, get a trade, or I'm gonna go work here and work my way up. Or maybe if they do go to college and they do get their associate's degree or something like that, or maybe even a bachelor's, but they stop there because they feel that pressure that like, hey, I got to start making this money right now. I think that's how a lot of men feel. Whereas I think women afford themselves the opportunity to continue to just go back to school, even if it means that they have to stay broke for a little bit. You know, if they have some sort of support system, something like that can kind of hold them down while they study and really get their stuff together, and through their mid to late 20s or whatever, then a lot of women will do that. I've seen it. I know a lot of them personally. Whereas my guy friends, they're not doing the same stuff. As soon as they get a chance to get out of school, it's like, all right, got to go get this money. Got to go get this money. And then she says at the very end, she's like, oh, like, excuse me for having a preference that doesn't have to do with money or anything like that. So she's basically even saying, like, even if you are a guy with money, if you didn't go to school, you didn't get an education, especially if you think education is a scam, we can't be together. Which, if she feels like she's not equally yoked with somebody, then yeah, she shouldn't be with them. So it's like, I agree with her. But again, I just had to break it down to you guys, like why we're seeing these dynamics take place. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat, though. Let me read this chat. Let me see. That's her choice. Yeah. But it could be slim pickings. Yeah. Like I said, pricing herself out of a lot of the dating market. Zeke says, damn, I didn't go to college. I guess I'm a loser. You're not a loser, Zeke. Not a loser at all, Zeke. This woman is just like, again, some people can make school and college their whole personality. Not saying that this is this girl, but I've seen it before. Some people who literally are afraid to like stop with their schooling, right? If there were things above doctorates and whatnot, they would relentlessly just pursue that as their career, pursuing education as a career. Some do that. Let me see. Herb says she knows what she wants. It's just projecting on social media. What she want is mainly the issue to me. Let me see. she's definitely cutting her options in half because college exactly is not accessible. It's for everyone, but her choice. Yeah, could be a little bit of an maybe. I don't want to say an elitist thing. Again, it's her choice, right? So you really can't get too mad at her for it. Chris M says definitely justified. She gave her explanation, and people are still hearing what they want to hear. Yeah, her choice. If you got a trade, you did something after high school. She didn't give a limitation to what was done after high school. She said just do something after high school. So what? I mean, so what if he goes? I would love to ask her this, right? What if there's a guy with a trade, but he still thinks that college is a scam, and that's why he went to go get the trade? Because a lot of people who go and get trades because they don't believe in the university system and it being a pipeline to automatic success because it's not, right? It's really not. I wonder how she would feel about that. I wonder how she would feel about that. Or maybe she is just talking about people who graduate high school and then right after that they just sit around and do absolutely nothing. I don't know. I don't know. It just depends on where you were raised, says Eli. But most men are expected to produce financially way sooner than women, and that was my point, Eli. That was my point. I feel like there is a certain pressure on men to like go and get it as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Like I can't stay in school throughout my early to mid to late 20s. Rack up more debt and not be bringing in cash because I'm studying. You know, like got to get it now. Got to go find ways to get it now. There's bills to pay, families to start, people to support. Taurus wants me to play the clip one more time. I'll play it one more time. I'll play it one more time.
Also, tell me if I'm wrong. Actually, I know I'm not wrong. I just got into it with a group of people because I said I don't date anyone who don't have a post-secondary education. I didn't say they needed to have a bachelor's degree. I'm just saying I need you to do something after high school so we can relate to some things just a little bit more. What do I look like dating somebody who swear college is a scam and I've been in college half my life? I got my bachelor's degree, master's degree, and I'm going back to school to get my PhD. And I'm not in school right now, but I'm still studying to get a license, and then I have to study to get another license. If you think school is a scam, why would I date you? You won't understand what I'm doing. God forbid a girl got a preference that ain't got nothing to do with money or skin complexion. Ugh.
So there you go. There you have it, Taurus. And everybody who didn't catch it. She said do something after high school. Goodness. Y'all in the selective hearing. Chris, did you hear what I said, though? People get trades in high school and still have to do continuing education to retain that certification. I'm inclined to believe people miss points on purpose. But you see, I think there's a difference here between getting recertified for a trade and going to school for a bachelor or for a master of science or a bachelor of arts degree or something like that. I think that it's two different things because I almost want to say that she could also be referring to IQ level, right? And again, education level because there's a lot of guys who have trades. I mean, I know a couple of them who came out of high school with trades in electrical and carpentry, plumbing, whatever, who did not do a lick of school outside of that. It was just on me. I gotta get my certification recertified. Cool. I'll go take this test here, and boom, that's it. I don't think that that's the same thing as having a degree, a college degree. It's not. So again, I would love to ask her what what the difference is there for her. Tori says, Chris, continuing education class is only 8 hours. Yes, it's a little bit of a difference. You're not up late at night for weeks and months on end studying and getting ready for exams and getting ready to write dissertations and stuff like that. It's a little crash course on, okay, here's what you need to do to remember how to do what you need to do. After that 8-hour course, you're certified for another 3 years or something like that. You know what I mean? I just think it's a little bit different, But she did say, as long as you're doing something out of high school, then it's cool. Which I mean, I agree with that. If you're not doing anything out of high school, then that's a problem. That's an issue. Let me see. It's no difference from what she's saying. Something she just don't want her man to be a high school graduate, and that's it. Which is fair. Which is fair. We grown, right? Ain't mad at her at the end of the day. But again, I think it is important to explain why, because she's not the only one who feels this way. Not the only black woman that feels this way, right? I think it is important to explain where we are as a society, especially again within the black community, with our education and how far women are going and how far men are going. You know, interesting topics here because it leads to a lot of women making more money than men. Interesting developments. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let me get her off of the screen. All right. Last one I got for you guys. This one ugh, could ruffle some feathers. This one could ruffle some feathers. So there was a woman who was talking about men. Again, surprise, surprise. My algorithm just be feeding me this messy stuff, man. I don't know why or how, but I think it knows. I think it knows what I like and what you guys want to talk about. But this woman was talking about men, and particularly bad men, and how when women generalize men being bad, some men get triggered by that. She explains that if you're triggered by that, then you're the problem. Let's take a listen.
If you are a man that considers themselves to be a safe person for women to be around, yet you get offended when women say that men are unsafe people by and large, you are also not a safe space for women. You're not a safe person for women. And yes, I recognize my glasses are crooked. I don't know if it's my glasses or my nose. I've had several nail shop wands, but that's where I'm at. If you're a man, that if women start saying that, men are unsafe, or most women I know have been attacked, or most women I know have suffered some abuse at the hands of a man, or I know several people who have been murdered by their partners, or I know several people who've been beaten by their partners or attacked, or, I know several women who have been abandoned.
Real quick, y'all, please like the video.
Abandoned by men who were supposed to be fathers to their children. And every time those stories start getting told, instead of listening and figuring out how you can make yourself and the men around you more safe people, you start saying not all men because you don't want to be counted in that number. You're in that number, and you're actually, I think these glasses are crooked, you're actually making it more unsafe. Because if every time someone says something, you say, oh, not all men, I posit you this. And I feel pissed that I have to break it down this way. But if I handed you a bowl of Skittles, let's say, or whatever your favorite snack is, and I said, hey, here are these Skittles. They're all yours. You can have them all. You have your pick of these Skittles. But 50% of them are poison. The rest are fine. 50% are poison. Would you then just stick your hand in that fucking bowl of Skittles? Because not all Skittles. Wouldn't you be concerned and wary of all Skittles because you can't look at them Skittles and then determine which ones are poison?
And she is rambling a little bit, but you guys should get her gist by now. The point she's making is that, like, if you're a man who gets triggered when women generalize men and saying, like, men are bad or men are trash or whatever, men are dangerous, those sort of things, then you're the problem. And she uses this analogy of, like, if I handed you a bowl of your favorite snack, let's say it be Skittles, and I told you that 50 of those Skittles were poisonous and the other 50 were regular Skittles, would you willingly take from that bowl, like, just mindlessly, and saying, well, it's not all the Skittles, so I'm just still going to pick and, that's what she's saying, basically. Which is a point, I understand. I think that by and large, men are the more dangerous gender, and women are at risk. And I don't know exactly what the stats are, but they are pretty alarming and way too high for my liking, for the amount of women who get abused, whether that be, physically abused, sexually abused, things like that, harassment, all sorts of stuff at the hands of men. I think a lot of these statistics are like 1 in 4, 1 in 3, which is crazy. Even still, that still doesn't mean it's all men. which is where a lot of guys have problems with it. Upstanding men, good men, who don't do wrong by women, I don't think that they necessarily need to stand up and try to fight for all men when women are generalizing based off of their own personal anecdotes and experiences. There's no need for you to get on your soapbox and say, oh, well, it's not all men, so don't go generalizing. No need for that. The only thing that I think us, and I'm just talking to the men right here, I think that the only thing that us men have to do, especially as good men who know that we don't treat women that way, is simply teach the next generation to behave the exact same way as you. That's the best contribution that you can have to these sort of issues. Because to the woman who is saying, oh, men are this, men are that, she doesn't believe in her heart of hearts that every single man is that way. But there have been enough men in her lifetime or in a woman close to her lifetime that have done wrong by them to the point where like they're done trying to figure out who's good and who's bad. They're just going to generalize, which seems very unfair. Seems very unfair. But again, I think the best thing to do, not argue them down about it and just train up, whether it be, you know, your little brother, your son, your little cousin, whatever. Teach them how to treat women. Teach them how to respect women. And you won't get jaded women. And I hate to call her jaded because I don't know what she's been through, but she seems very adamant on this. Now, where her argument kind of, to me at least, where you can kind of poke a hole in it. Not that I want to, but I can't help but like think about how there's two sides of this coin and there's a double standard. Because she's saying that like, you know, you're the problem if you're saying that it's not all men. What if somebody, or let's just say, take for example, let's just say a white person said all black people are violent, right? Would that be okay? Like, would we be the problem as black people if we said that like, oh, it's not all black people, right? Because some black people are violent, right? Some are. A lot aren't, but a lot are. So would that be okay for a white person to say that and generalize like that? Or would you be in outrage? I would love to ask her that. But, and again, I just think that we should all be giving each other some level of grace. But some people are more hurt inside. Some people are more traumatized than others. So instead of trying to argue these people down on the internet and say, hey, it's not all men, it's not all men, just do better for you and yours. You know, that's what I say. She looked like she lies on men. Controversial hot take says I've seen more men abused by their wives in relationships than I've seen men abusing wives. I haven't. I have not. I could only attribute that to maybe men being abused by their wives in relationship. I mean, because society doesn't tend to look at female on male abuse as abuse. They might in the technical sense, but it's not seen or perceived as egregious as it would be if it was male on female. So I think it's just a little bit more accepted and normalized in a way. And I think that, you know, if it were to happen in public, it would be less like riveting than if it were to be the other way around and a man was abusing his wife in public. But that is interesting that you've had that experience, Asmodeus. And shout out to you. Good morning to you as well. And for every man that has done essayed a woman, there is a man that has been falsely accused by a freak off that got their feelings hurt. There's a lot of liars too. There's a lot of liars too. Sutton telling us how it's your fault. How am I doing that? How am I doing that, Taurus? You guys want the audio one more time, or wait, did I play it? I don't think I finished it.
And which ones are not. When you be like, damn, in this case, it is all Skittles because I can't tell which Skittles will murder me and which Skittles won't. So I'm gonna go ahead and say all Skittles. Does that make sense to you? But because you think highly of you and you think highly of the niggas you be around, which you don't know them niggas that you be around, because men time and time again have proven not to have in-depth friendships. You really don't know anything about these motherfuckers that you be playing a game with and playing basketball with and shit like that. I know maybe one male friend group that they know each other, but besides that, no, not really. You don't know these motherfuckers. You don't want to count you and your friends in that number, so you're offended. Oh, not all men, not all men, not all men. It is all men because you're in it too. Because it might not be you, but don't you know them niggas? Don't you hang out with them? Don't they keep getting invited places and you never make us think about it? Don't they keep showing up to homecoming? Don't they keep showing up to the basketball?
Okay. All right. I'm done. I won't play it anymore. As Modia says, the fact of the matter is we need to teach our future sons and daughters to treat each other better. The problem is, even from the top of the government, they're looking for ways to destroy the family unit. Bingo, Asmodeus. Bingo. And honestly, videos like this contribute to that. They do. Because you're disseminating a message here that is only going to drive the wedge further between men and women. And yes, I get it that I'm platforming this on my platform, but that's why we're here to kind of talk about the nuances of it, right? So we can leave here knowing what we need to do, solution oriented, because there are no solutions in her video. Her only solution is just, hey, look, all men are trash until no men are trash. And it's like, okay, well, for the rest of time, I guess you're just going to think all men are trash, because this is not like a zero-sum game. You're not going to get a 100% hit rate on good men, just like you're not going to get a 100% hit rate on good women. It doesn't happen, But I think, again, to be solution-based and solution-oriented, I agree with Asmodeus here. Like I said before, about 5 minutes ago, train up your sons, your daughters to treat each other better, respect one another, and to also have a healthy relationship of the opposite sex. That's what it comes down to. Herb says, ma'am, mama, seek therapy. That's my only criticism from what she's saying. I respect her. I'm just tired of the gender wars and shit like that. Again, like Asmodeus said, trying to destroy the family unit. I mean, we're getting, less marriages. Birth rates are declining rapidly. More people are abandoning, heterosexuality than ever before. Stuff like this only adds to that. Everybody wants to go viral. Facts. Let me see. Said, look what you did, Taurus. I'm sorry. This was a long video, too. She was a little bit lengthy in her soliloquy here. Void says, but that's different, though. Guarantee you that would be her response to the whole, are all black people violent? Right? Should white people be on pins and needles and generalize all black people because some black people are violent and do the wrong things? Wonder how she would think about that. What she would think about that, I don't know. Somebody took her man and she mad at all the men for that. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Void with the super chat donation, making it rain here. What's up, Void? Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Supporting the channel. My man Void is a member. Throwing memberships, not memberships, but throwing a super chat in the chat here. Appreciate that, Void. Happy Friday to you as well. Says, personally, I see no use flipping the scenario because people will always try to reflect it back just to remove blame or hold agendas. I will put it this way. Vampires have no reflection. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of right about that. Again, I talk about it a lot on Purple Rain Podcast. Culture of accountability. Not only do the Ravens not have that, largely, America doesn't have that. Nobody wants to be accountable. Like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, ICE and the people on that side of the aisle, they don't want to be accountable for what happened earlier this week in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be hold themselves accountable for their own shit. It's not comfortable to do. It's way more comfortable in today's society to play the victim role. Like, oh, I was wronged. I've been wronged. I've been perpetually wronged. I'm going to continue to be wronged, and I'm going to continue to tell you about it. I've done nothing wrong. I'm a flawless human being. You're the one doing wrong to me. I'm the one who deserves restitution. I'm the one who deserves, you know, all of this stuff. Sympathy, right? Mm, 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 mm. People will always try to throw it back at you. And people on the internet, they don't want to be necessarily morally right or wrong. They just want to win the argument. They just want to win the argument and go home. That's it. They don't care how it's done. They don't care if there's more nuance to the conversation that they're ignoring. They don't care if there's holes in their own argument. They just want to win by any means necessary. They just want to win. Appreciate the $10 super chat donation, Void. We got Eli dropping the $2 super chat donation. Appreciate you, Eli. Getting happy Friday to you. Says if a man said this, he would be sassy. Well, yes, he would. And I'll say this though, because she has a point in men being dangerous. I do think that men, again, by and large, are more dangerous than women. If a man got up there and was saying these same things as she's saying, but in reverse, it kind of, not only would it look sassy, but it also wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, right? And this, again, this is not to say that men don't get abused, because they do, right? But I think that if there was like a pie chart that we could pull up right now, in terms of like how many men are abused, how many women are abused or have been abused, it would be overwhelmingly women. Now we could even adjust for the amount of men who don't report being abused. I still think that pie chart would still, by and large, be more women being abused. So it wouldn't really come off the same. It wouldn't hit the same. The points wouldn't hit the same. But he would definitely still be sassy. He would definitely be deemed sassy. I mean, hell, there's been very fair arguments that guys have made about whatever topic, certain topics, and they're seen as sassy for it. Anytime you as a man call out a deficiency of a woman, right, or women in general, and you hop on your platform and you're talking into a camera and your selfie camera about it, it's gonna be looked at a way. It's gonna be looked at a certain type of way. It just is. Appreciate the donation though. Another one coming from Eli. Appreciate you, Eli. Says emotional and mental abuse is a thing. It is. It is, which is another one that goes both ways. Another one that goes both ways, emotional and mental abuse. I feel like emotional and mental abuse is something that doesn't really get reported by either side as much. If anything, I think that emotional or mental abuse would be more so, brought to the forefront if there was, an actual divorce on the table and you have to figure out exactly what happened and put all this into the documentation. Then yeah, you might throw that in there. But I don't see people just like on a random Tuesday in their marriages or whatever reporting that they're being emotionally abused. Like, it just doesn't really get to the point of reporting it typically, unless it's physical, right? But emotional and mental abuse is absolutely a thing. I just don't know how much it's reported, you know what I mean, by both parties. Ismodia says different kinds of dangerous men and women are. Men are more loudly dangerous. It's more direct and in your face. Women can be dangerous in a Machiavellian kind of way. Yeah, I mean, women are, of course, very, very smart, very, very intuitive, right? Very creative, especially when passions are running high. But I think that when I talk about dangerous, I mean like physically dangerous. You know, that poses a different level of threat. It does. Let me see. Take a couple more here. The Ravens emotionally abused me the last 13 years. Sis, who are you telling? Who are you telling? Who are you telling? Jeez Louise, man. These Ravens. Torres says you may be able to receive compensation, Chris. Hey, we should launch a class action lawsuit against the Baltimore Ravens. Hit up old Steve Bisciotti. See what we can do. See what we can do. And I'm fully with you in your support, you know, in your effort to confront your abusers, Chris. I am. I'm right there with you. Let's start us up a class action lawsuit against the Baltimore Ravens. All my Ravens fans in here. Let's get everybody, whatever, you know, Ravens YouTube chats that you're in today. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people live talking about the Ravens. Tell them that's what we're doing. We're starting a class action lawsuit. We're suing the Ravens for emotional distress, right? To the tune of, I don't know, how much money y'all want? How much should we go for? Y'all think like 10, 15 mil? That ain't nothing to Steve Bisciotti, right? We would just have to come up with a way to prove it. I'm sure we could figure something out. AI exists. $1 billion is crazy. I don't want to lock them up. Let's just settle. Let's just settle for about 10, 15 million. 10, 15 billion is crazy. Y'all in the bees. See, I'm trying to be humble about it. Y'all talking about the bees is crazy. Have you or a loved one been forced to watch a Greg Roman offense? You may be entitled to financial compensation. It's like those mesothelioma commercials. Man. That's true. That's true, though. Okay. All right. But look, guys, I got to get out of here. Like I told you guys, my weekend plans. I got company coming in town in T-minus 2.5 hours or something like that. So I do have to wrap up this episode of Sutton Reactions as we're about an hour and 17 minutes in. Shout out to everybody who came through and watched live. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video. We will be back on Tuesday with our next episode of the show. Monday, I'll still have company in town. We'll still be live for PRP. But stay tuned and make sure you turn on the notification bell for all updates on this channel, whether that be Purple Rain Podcast, whether that be Sudden Reactions. If you're watching on PRP, make sure you hit the link in the description. And, go to the actual official Sudden Reactions YouTube channel and hit subscribe on there. It says W Show. Appreciate that. Roof, Ace. Voice says, tell Ace I said, what's up? I'll tell him. I'll let him know. I had to kick him out of the room for this episode of the show, because I'm in my guest room and we're trying to prepare our guest room for company, and I don't need him in here messing stuff up while we do that. So, shout out to the thank you again for the shout out to Ace. I'll definitely let him know. Maybe I'll bring him on screen next time. Chris says, thanks, Sutton. Have fun. Appreciate that, Chris. King Lee says, peace and happiness. Appreciate that. Shout out to you, Zeke. W Show. Again, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.